And thank you to all of our witnesses. Ms. Holman, thank you for being here. I know your brother is looking down on you very proudly for your courage. So sadly, I have had many friends who have lost loved ones and children to the same disease. And we all need to be reminded that's why we're here, and we need to come up with some answers. Dr. Rich, I want to just focus on a minute on what you just described. You know, I think a lot of folks, particularly families that are struggling with a loved one who has an addiction, the idea of getting them into a treatment facility where they can have the peace of mind to know they're safe seems like sort of a natural inclination. But it turns out, according to your testimony, that while that may provide you peace of mind, it's actually not the best strategy in most cases for really addressing the addiction. And the work that you've done in Rhode Island, the medically assisted treatment, seems to be much more successful. So I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about like in the face of that data, what is it just old thinking? Why is it that we continue to hear people talk about we need more beds, there has to be more placements? Is it just this reluctance on the using medicine, or what's
the medications are limited in their, they're not perfect for everybody. They have a lot of side effects, they have a lot of problems, but they are the best thing we have. The problem with the going to a detox is just as tolerance goes up very quickly, tolerance also goes down very quickly. And so when you let people out of a detox, as we heard when Garrett was released, he overdosed right away. Now, probably if he had been using up until that point that he took that dose, he would have had a much higher tolerance and wouldn't have overdosed right then and there. So we're setting people up for overdose by putting them through detox. And they might not have detoxed 10 years ago, 5 years ago when we didn't have fentanyl. But now we have fentanyl, and it's far too dangerous. So the stakes this is rapidly evolving. So we really need to get with the times and get people onto these medications. Now, there's some cases where, maybe if the medications are tried and there's absolutely nothing else we can do, then maybe we need to be more of a big brother and be more controlling. But I think if we've already shown that by giving people access to and continuing them on treatment, that they're going to reduce their overdose deaths, we need to roll that out right away.
And that's the work that you've done in the prison with success. I think you said 61% success rate.
61% drop in overdose deaths within a year of starting that program in people coming out of corrections. But that doesn't have to be corrections. People shouldn't have to go to get incarcerated in order to get treatment. We can do that in pretrial arrest. We can do that in the hospitals, in the emergency rooms, in the clinics. We just need to roll it out. We need high-quality programs that not only give the medications, but really work on recovery, work on the mental health, work on the other things that the Congressman was talking about.
And what do you think we can do? What can Congress do to support? I mean, obviously, providing resources so medically assisted treatment is available. Are there other things we can be doing in terms of closer regulation of prescriber activities, better coordination through pharmacies? How much of that issue do you think is contributing to this real growth in opioid overdoses?
We have a whole population that's addicted now. And that started with the overprescribing. But they're there, and we can shut down the prescriptions. Some of them are going to say, oh, I guess I didn't need that, but most of them are going to go, at least for a time, and find out whatever they can find. So that's very dangerous. We also have people that have not started taking opiates, and we need to do whatever we can to prevent them from starting, and a big part of that's education, understanding what's going on.
And finally, I know you have been part of the work that Governor Raimondo has been leading in Rhode Island that I think is really a model in terms of bringing all of the stakeholders and affected parties together to really develop a strategy and a plan. Maybe you could spend the last few minutes just talking about that.
Well, I was fortunate to be involved in that. The governor, instead of having a stakeholder process, had an expert-driven process where they had experts making decisions rather than stakeholders saying, fund my program. And that led to really looking at the evidence, getting a lot of information from the community and from the stakeholders, and developing a plan. We had a simple 4-point plan, expanding treatment. 20,000 out of our population of 1 million were people that needed to be on to MAT. And so identifying where those people interact with systems and shunting them over into treatment. So we've started to roll that out, and we think we can. We need to continue to double down on that strategy.
Thank you, Dr. Rich.